Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time I'm joined by my friends Gary and George, and we're going to be going through, the three of us, our top 25 Silver Age with a little bit of Bronze Age favourite most classic comic covers. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Right, so, my first choice then, it doesn't get much more iconic than this, does it? Spider-Man, issue 1, Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, this is about as closest as I've ever been to an original one, but this is your one, Gary, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so Gary, do you remember how you got this one?
I do. Mid-90s, I took voluntary redundancy.
All right, yeah.
Paid off the mortgage, and when I got a new job, I still had a bit of redundancy money left over, so I bought the Spider-Man number 1 and Fantastic Four number 1 with
your redundancy
money.
So a bit of a treat then. Well, that was a good investment. Yeah, that was a great investment. Yeah. I mean, I've always loved this. The way I first read the Spider-Mans was in the 1976, 77 pocketbook comic, paperback adaptations. They were the ones that I read. I think it was the first 6 issues, and that's when I sort of first fell in love with Spider-Man and the Ditko style of artwork. But this, for me, it's got a nice, lovely, busy cover. I love the fact that the FF are in it as well, giving Spider-Man a good launch.
Jack Kirby cover.
Jack Kirby cover on this one, yeah, absolutely, but a Ditko inside, but superb. I mean,
and Ditko inks on that
in Ditko inks, right? And George, what do you think? I mean,
I remember the first time I read this story was in the British POW comic,
right?
Which was one of the power comics of the 1960s.
Yeah.
And that would have been about 1967 when I read that.
Right. Oh, wow.
POW number 1.
POW number, and did they print them in order in POW? Did they?
They did, but they started with Spider-Man number 1. They didn't do Amazing Fantasy.
Really. Well, there you go. There we go. But we couldn't really start with a better comic. And what's next then, Gary? What have you got lined up there? Yeah. Well, another great one, Avengers 4.
Yeah. Well, my collection is all Marvel.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping you and George have brought in some of those great Adams in Wrightson covers.
We have DC. Indeed, yeah, definitely got some DC in here.
But when you think of Marvel, you immediately think of two people, Stan Lee and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby, yeah.
And this is a classic Kirby cover.
Yeah, really, really iconic, that one. And it's gorgeous, isn't it?
You've got the foreshortening, typical Jack Kirby, and the movement of all the characters.
Very, very nice indeed. Is it another really iconic? Do you remember where you got that one?
I don't. I've had that one for
quite a while. Yeah, it's a Sense copy as well. Yeah, very nice. And George, what's your first one then?
Right, well, I've got a DC one.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah,
this is Strange Adventures number 207.
Yeah, wow.
It dates from December 1967. And it's chronologically the third appearance of Deadman. Right. Got this beautiful Neal Adams cover.
Oh, yeah, really. All the different faces in the back of the
faces in the back there were actually DC editorial staff from the mid-60s. That
sort of office workers.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, wow.
57 years ago, I expect most of those aren't around anymore.
Probably. Yeah, there's a pretty young-looking lady there, so maybe she might be around.
They've all been immortalised in a comic book cover.
How cool would that be? Yeah,
it's a great run of issues. Yeah, Neal Adams. I probably could have picked several.
How long did that run go for?
Well, it started 205 and finished at 216, so there was like 12 issues there.
Yeah.
Carmine Infantino did the first one. And the rest of them are all Neal Adams, and it's a great run of comics.
Really, really nice. Yeah,
we mentioned Neal did the same thing when he did the Superman versus Muhammad Ali Treasury.
Oh, the Treasury
edition. The people in the crowd were real people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fantastic. Well, my next one is slightly off-ball. It's I think pretty much the only gold key we'll see today. There was a little find of these in the early to mid-90s, and George, you and I were at the London shows, and a few of the dealers who'd been to America had really nice file copies of these Dell ones that the man from Uncle's I Spy.
That's right.
Remember loads of westerns.
I remember buying Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, a near complete run, and they're all lovely, beautiful condition.
And I think what it was, it may have been the Dell archives had been liquidated in effect, and they come into the hands of collectors. And that's when I bought these. I think I paid like a tenner for that one and about £8 for that, but they're just superb. The Invaders is one of my favourite shows, a Quinn Martin production, and it's just really of its time, and gutted they never really finished it off. Roy Thinnis, that's the chap. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a great series, and they only did 4 comics, and number 4 I think is a reprint of number 1. So it's but they're a great little run, and I do like the odd TV and film tie-in comic.
It's a shame they couldn't have finished those TV series. They were a lot like that, weren't they? Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants.
It did come back, didn't it, in the 90s?
Yeah.
I believe.
But the Invaders,
it didn't really take off, did it? Well, did it have Scott Bakula in it? Was he in it? And Roy Thinnis did a little cameo.
I can't remember.
I
don't think I ever watched it, to be honest.
I
don't think I watched it.
I actually own it on a video cassette, which I bought in New York when we went. But I've not. I've never watched it. never had the nerve.
Go around it.
It's probably on YouTube now, So brilliant. Your turn next, then, Gary. So what delights have we got?
Well,
this Millie the model.
Probably not his.
Really?
Probably not his best work. But I thought the cover artist here, Dan DiCarlo, needed a shout out when we're talking about classic artists. So this is the only work of his I've got, or cover I've got of his. So this is what I've included. This one, I mean, Dan DiCarlo. He's famous really for his Archie work. I mean, he created the Archie look. Josie and the Pussycats, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Riverdale. I mean, so all these. I mean, they're all coming back now on Netflix's TV series.
Wow. This is really early, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cover dated. I mean, it's not really Silver Age.
1946.
Yeah, that was number 1.
I see. Right. Okay.
That is cover dated March 1952.
Right. Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, people talk about, let's say, Dan created the Archie look. I mean, people always talk about the big 2, Marvel and DC, but Archie used to outsell them all.
Yeah.
So so
72 years old.
Yeah.
Blimey.
So really a shout out that one for Dan DiCarlo.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe that's probably the oldest comic we'll see today. I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, it's not really Silver Age. I mean, it's pre-Silver Age, really. But
Atomic Age, maybe. Now this looks a nice one, George.
Yeah, next out of the box, Fantastic Four 49.
Wow. Yeah.
From April 1966.
Wow.
It's classic Kirby cover on there.
Yeah.
FF48 was the coming of Galactus, and well, here he is.
There he is,
together with the Silver Surfer.
What a great jacket that is! Absolutely
first appearances.
Amazing. Yeah, really, really nice.
It's you can feel the power coming off the cover.
Oh yeah. Very nice.
Fantastic Four was really riding high, I think, at this point.
Sort of peak period, wasn't it?
Between 66 and 68 is my favourite period.
That was like the second appearance of the Surfer, because he's barely in number 48, isn't he? But first proper full appearance. Lovely. Very nice indeed. Okay, well, I better get my next one out, and just to sort of mix it up a little bit, we'll go for actually it's a 2-parter again, so I'll do these 2, which is House of Secrets 92 and Something 1. So we're sort of dipping a little bit into the Bronze Age there. But Bernie Wrightson did a few House of Secrets and a few House of Mystery covers, but this was sort of the test bed for what became Something. And evidently the story went down pretty well. And the following year, Something got its own series at last. And I think the original Wrightson run is really good. In fact, all of Volume 1 is pretty nice. But it's those first sort of 10 or 12 that are great.
They reprinted them several times. I remember they did.
Loads of times.
They did them in a special series.
Yeah, you can get DC special series, and there's a Saga of the Swamp Thing.
There's just been a replica edition, I believe, as well, just done.
Oh, right, yeah. And there was definitely replicas of this one, wasn't there? What were they called? The Millennium editions, weren't they? Do you remember those, the Millennium reprint? I do have that set knocking around somewhere. But I've always, out of all the comics that I've had through my hands over the years, and I've definitely not kept them all, I have let some go as my collecting has changed. I could never get rid of these. They're just amongst my absolute all-time favourites. They're just superb. I do like the Batman one. I think it's issue 3. I was reading in Roots of the Swamp Thing, which is like a Swamp Thing fanzine, and they mentioned how Bernie Wrightson used to do the artwork and then send it into New York, and one of the artworks, I think it was for number 3, got completely lost in the post, and he had to do the whole thing again from scratch. No. Can you imagine? Whatever happened to that?
It's just,
God. It's absolutely horrific. But there you go. But yeah, so that's
Some
light-fingered postman in America.
Well, who knows? Yeah. I mean, you'd think if that was the case, it would have surfaced, but it never did. So there you go.
Quite an expensive book these days.
Is what something one?
No,
House of Secrets. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Len Wein was the writer. They both passed away in the last few years. A real shame. But do like old Swampy. It's good stuff. Right, George.
What's next?
Is it George's Gary? Yeah, what have you got?
The next one, more Kirby, more Jack Kirby. And this is Gunsmoke Western number 66.
Yeah.
Jack Kirby in Dick Ayres. At that time, Dick Ayres used to ink quite a lot of Kirby's work. So this is cover dated September 61. So again, pre-Fantastic Four number 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just an all-action, typical Kirby all-action cover.
There's plenty going on. It's like every little bit where he could put in another guy running away. He's like filled the cover up there to keep it nice and busy. Yeah, that's sort of how you want your westerns to be, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this is when I first saw the cover, not the actual comic. When I first became aware of the cover, I thought, I've got to go out and get that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that he's been shot as well adds a bit. Bit of excitement to the cover. Yeah.
So, is it just selected issues of Gunsmoke you've got? You haven't got much of a run, or
I've got quite a lot of them. Yeah. I'm missing some of the early ones. It's easier now, but when I was collecting all these westerns and things, that they just didn't turn up in the UK. It was very hard to get them. This is why quite a lot of them are in low grade, because it's not like now where you can have your pick and it's just how much money have you got. Then it was if you saw it, you had to grab it no matter what condition.
Yeah, because you may not see another one at
the
time. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Okay then, George. So
next one we've got Tales of Suspense number 41.
Wow, look at
all
that.
the way back to May 1963, and it's the third appearance of Iron Man, and this time he's in his original golden armor.
Ah, yes, yeah.
And he's up against Doctor Strange.
No less.
Well, no, this isn't the same Doctor Strange that's around in the MCU these days. This is the original and evil Doctor Strange.
Right, I see. Evil Doctor Strange,
Yeah. This is obviously predates Strange Tales, where the Doctor Strange that
we know it,
made his first appearance.
Right.
I think this character has come back over the years, but as Dr. Weird, I think they call him. Dr. Weird, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
But he's got patients queuing up his doorstep, and do you want to go and see Dr. Weird?
He's absolutely fine, honest. I've
got this boy or doctor.
No worries.
It's a great Kirby cover again.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
I love all these old ones with the
I see you got a Sense copy. Do you remember where you got that one, George?
That one, I picked that up at one of the comic fairs, probably back at one of the Westminster comic fairs.
An early one for us.
Back in the late 80s when we used to go up there.
Fantastic. So this is one I've borrowed from Gary's collection. It's his copy of another iconic one, Hulk number 1 here. It's just brilliant. I mean, what can you say? Once again, what a launch issue. I mean, I know you're just lucky to have one, Gary, but I mean, one of these in tip-top shape, it's so impactful, isn't it,
That's right, yeah. Another Jack Kirby cover.
Yeah.
I remember buying that one in the mid-90s from Compal Comics, the auction. UK auctioneers there.
Yeah.
They used to have all sorts of books.
Yeah, they're still going. In fact, I've put a few bids on today with them for
some bits. Yeah,
for some bit. Patsy the model, Patsy Walker rather.
Patsy Walker,
Millie the model, that sort of thing. Patsy Klein,
Patsy and Hetty, wasn't it?
Patsy and Hetty, just some key additions to your collection.
How much did you pay for that one then, Gary?
I
remember?
Bought that one for £80.
80 quid
in the mid-90s.
Wow. Yeah. How times have changed. I mean, what does a goodish copy go for, a pence one nowadays?
Put it in a slab and get it slabbed and it'll be a few thousand, wouldn't it?
Yeah, something that, I mean, that's obviously a low grade, but you probably wouldn't get that under 3,000.
It's very, very tough to find in high grade because of that blue cover.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
If you look in the Marvel Origins, the Fireside book, it's got the original art to Hulk number 1, or the first iteration of it, and it's very similar to that. A lot of the comics, the first editions, adjusted as they go through the process.
Yeah.
And, there's a bit different on the lines behind the Hulk, which is difficult to see on that. But Bruce Banner's lost the vent in his jacket.
Right.
Of course, he's all grey in that issue as well, due to miscolouring or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he's got the grey Hulk.
Well, I believe he was originally intended to be grey, and they had, as you say, they had so much problems printing him in grey that they decided to change
to green,
the colour.
With number 2.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant! Excellent. Okay.
Speaking about green,
look at that.
This is Green Lantern.
Yeah. What a great cover!
Number 60. This dates from April 1968. It's got a lovely Gil Kane artwork, spotlight on the lamplighter, and look what a colourful colour. The
Really
use
nice.
of the reds and the greens there. The lamplighter, as far as I remember, was some sort of crook that used to break into bank vaults and things, using a sort of cane or a staff which could burn through through walls of vaults and things. And he dressed in sort of like 17th century colonial clothes with a tricorn hat.
Right. Okay.
But it's a lovely cover.
Really, really nice.
You got
it?
Hal Jordan there sweating away, Peter Sweat, and yes, it's fantastic Gil Kane.
Yes, it's a good one for sure. And my next one is also a DC. It's Superman, the main run, 215 here, Death of Lois Lane, a classic Neal Adams cover, and we see a lot of Neal Adams. He's just so good. But that was I just really like the colouring on that one. The sort of the sunset in effect on the oranges there, really good.
Adds to the mood, doesn't it?
Really nice.
Beautiful cover.
Yeah, it is a really, really nice. Yeah, fantastic.
Quite often overlooked, aren't they, the colourists at what they can add to.
Absolutely. And this would have been. This is before computer colouring. This would have been using more traditional techniques, So it's much, much harder to do it back then than it is today. It's easy to get a gradient now, isn't it? But back then, it would have been so much harder, and he just pulled it off. So it's great stuff, that one.
I remember buying that off a spinner rack way
back in the day,
back in 1968 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Gary, your next one. Daredevil, Daredevil 17.
Daredevil 17, cover dated June 66.
Yeah.
So say England about to win the World Cup. And, covered by John Romita and inks by J. Koa, I think his name is, Frank J. Koa. This was an early Spider-Man appeared in issue 16 as well with early Romita work.
Does that predate 39, Amazing Spider-Man 39?
It does, yeah. It was Romita was brought over from DC where he was doing romance comics and started on Daredevil. And the story is that Stan put Spider-Man into this story to give Romita a tryout on Spider-Man in order for him to take over from Steve Ditko.
Yeah,
so, I mean, whether that's true or not, or a happy coincidence,
it just sort of they worked it out chronologically. That definitely could be the case.
I mean, the timing just about fits. But if you look at Daredevil 20, which was the first Gene Colan issue, it does say in the credits there that Gene is just filling in for an issue. Although he did go on until number 100.
Right. Okay.
So his fill-in lasted 80 issues. But,
fair enough. Oh, brilliant. Really nice, yeah. It's mine. It's actually me, isn't it? Yeah. Well, let me choose something. Strange Tales 166. Now, was this the one with the inside, isn't it? Yeah.
Steranko.
So we'll show you this one then. So this one actually isn't for the cover, which I think we'll agree is not absolutely amazing, but it was for the inside, so we're going to open it up.
I think that's a Dan Atkins.
Dan Atkins,
yeah, he was doing Doctor Strange at the time.
Okay, so I'll slide this one out, and it was for Ditko. I think you bookmarked it, George.
Yeah, piece of paper.
Ditko had been gone on Doctor Strange a couple of years by then.
So I remember when I was reading my way through these for the first time, I came across this page, and it really shocked me. I mean, it blew me away really, because it starts off just that top panel there. If you just look at that, just brilliant, absolutely beautiful. Sort of the mood there. It very much reminds me of James Bond. But then the actual story, being the time of what it was, you sort of go through this little maze here, and you follow the story around going that way, and you're following it round, and then suddenly you're on your side, and then you're upside down. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. And I can't remember anyone ever sort of doing that in like the Silver Age of Marvel Comics. So I just thought it was fantastic. Just one of my all-time favorite pages. So that's why that one's in here. It's not for the cover, but for that amazing panel. So I slipped that one back in there. And you've got another one.
Well, I'll slip this one in here because this is actually a Steranko cover.
Yeah.
I think we all agree that Steranko is
one of our favourites. Yeah, absolutely.
Cover artists of this time. I mean, this one is another iconic Shield cover. We'll probably see most of the Shield
many more
issues as we go along. I mean, but you said before, I mean, you've got the expressionism, surrealism in him. You've got the pop art.
Yeah, of the time, of the period.
Andy Warhol's. Dali. I mean, the influences are all there in.
They really are. It's just incredible. And I like the way he would always, like, even his signature, which is so distinctive, but he would put that to fit the actual artwork so it didn't spoil it.
Very psychedelic.
Very much of its time.
Isn't it?
Yeah, we just love them.
When he signs items in person, I mean, even his signature is so
distinctive, isn't
stylish.
It? Does he still sign like that? Do we know?
No, he does.
Just a normal signature.
Big S and a big O in.
We should know. We've got a couple of bits signed by him. Yeah. Oh, fantastic! Like you say, it won't be the first thing we see by him today. So your next one then, George, is X-Men.
Uncanny X-Men. Well, X-Men number 12.
Wow, look at that.
From July 1965, and it's the origin of Professor X.
Yeah.
And also the first appearance of the Juggernaut. And
brilliant.
Again, a Kirby cover on that one.
Yeah.
But, it's always been one of my favourites of the early X-Men stories. And I love the story because inside the Juggernaut is slowly breaking through the X-Men's defences one by one. And you don't actually get to see him until the very final panel.
Right.
And it keeps the suspense going all the way through.
Oh, brilliant.
But again, Key Book.
Yeah.
First appearance of Kane Marco.
He's revealed to be
yes,
Vinnie Jones at the end.
Half-brother or something of Professor X or something, wasn't he? I think. Yeah.
Is he step-brother?
Step-brother. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Brilliant. And then it's my one. So I thought we ought to include at least one World's Finest. I mean, it was a bit of a comedy title when you look back on it. And certainly the 60s ones were very comedic. Although I think, some of the 80s ones actually are pretty good. But The Bat Witch Must Burn. Kurt Swan and Neal Adams did the cover on this one. So they're both sort of credited for it. And it's almost like typical of the period, isn't it? I mean, DC did get a bit silly, you have to say. And Batman's going to be accused, found guilty of witchcraft. I sentence you to be burned at the stake.
Unreal.
But there you go. So I thought we ought to include a bit of World's Finest. To be honest, if money was no object, I'd go back and collect them right back to the 1940s because I love them. I know they are ridiculous, but it's one of my all-time favourite DC titles. And although I don't collect it, I like reading them. So. So that would be my choice there.
Something quite light-hearted.
Indeed, yeah. And what have you got then? Oh, look at that. Another lovely Spider-Man.
Cover dated September 65, Spider-Man 28 with classic Steve Ditko.
Yeah, Ultraman.
Yep. And you've got the negative space there on the Spider-Man. Must be one of the first comics to
do that.
Invoke negative space. And
a tough one to find, I'm guessing, in high...
It is, because of the all black cover. I mean, it shows up every nick and crease and bend and everything. So I mean, to get a copy is nice. I can remember I first read all these stories in Mighty World of Marvel, the UK reprints, which started in tail end of 1972, and then in the late 80s. Would it have been, late 70s, early 80s, Marvel Tales started printing Spider-Man from Amazing Fantasy 15 again, all in order. And I started reading them, and I thought I've got to get the originals. So I made a conscious effort then to. I
think they reused that cover on a Marvel's Tales, didn't they? One of the early ones.
The Marvel Tales, they reused.
So the two covers, wasn't it, side by side? The early ones.
The very early ones, they had 2, 3, or 4 of of the complete covers, and then when they started reprinting them with the 130 something Marvel Tales, they used the original cover or the original cover art.
It's quite a nice copy that they're getting.
It's not bad, it's not bad.
Normally they'll show up those creases terribly.
They do,
Oh, you see all the spine,
everything.
The spine
it's the same with books as well, but the black covers. So, a very, very tough one to find in nice condition. Okay, so a DC, we got
Batman one this time. It's just Detective Comics from number
335.
335, all the way back to 1965. And I've always loved this cover, Carmine Infantino again. And I always remember as a kid thinking it was rather spooky looking cover with the face floating above there.
Yeah.
And Trail of the Talking Mask. And it's always one that's it's been my favourite.
Yeah.
In fact, a few years ago I was at a toy fair and I actually found this jigsaw puzzle. And obviously somebody else liked it as well because they turned it into a jigsaw puzzle.
A retro comics 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Look at that.
And it's the only one I've ever come across. 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, but
very unusual. I see from the Works.
The
Book Remainder Company.
Yeah.
And it was imported by the Works. Maybe they just put their own sort of box on it. But
it says Issue 1. Crash superheroes. So I assume that they plan to do more, but whether they did or not, I don't know.
Is that a sticker from the Works? Or
no, it's actually printed on the box. So, it's like they've done their own box, It's really unusual that I always liked this run because they had the elongated man as a backup, didn't they?
That's right,
Which good fun character, but a curiosity you could say that one, George. Absolutely. Right, I think we better go back to a Marvel one now, and I've chosen Fantastic Four number 3. It's probably my favourite of the first 10 or so, I would think, really. And it's Fantastic Four, but it's a book of firsts, isn't it? This one,
it is,
lots of originals. First costumes,
fantastic car, isn't it?
Fantastic car,
you don't see it on that one because it's a UK price variant, but it's the first 12-cent issue.
Right.
It's the first where they were living in the tower. They got their headquarters in the tower block.
Yeah.
It's also the first letter page, which
yes.
Right.
And I think the introduction of the letter pages in the tone Stan and Jack gave to the letter pages was a big factor in Marvel's early success.
There you
Dates
go.
from early 1962, is it?
Yeah, pretty early that one.
Yeah,
would it be 62?
Yeah. Brilliant. Just a great early Marvel, that one. Who's next?
Was it?
Is it Gary? Yeah. Okay, Gary. Your next one. Tales of Suspense. Right.
Tales of Suspense 49. Pencils by, you've got 2 for 1 here. You've got pencils by Jack Kirby and inked by Steve Ditko.
Right.
So the two Marvel greats.
Yeah.
Greats at that time. Cover dated March 60, January 64.
Yeah.
Cover dated.
Wasn't it about the third appearance of the X-Men or something, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, this came between X-Men 2 and 3. So it's
wow, very early.
It's the first X-Men crossover.
Yeah.
So Tony Stark's testing some weapons or something, and he irradiates the Angel, and the Angel goes mad and attacks him.
Nothing like a crossover to boost sales.
That's it.
I like the colours again, as you say. You've got the transition from the pink to the dark pinks in that one. And,
well done.
Lovely. I mean, that would have really popped if you'd have seen a mint copy on the stands.
Absolutely. Brilliant. And George,
Okay, we are again. Another Jim Steranko. This time, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 3.
Yes.
August 1968. The Hellhound of Ravenlock. What a fantastic cover it is.
Beautiful.
I mean, the mixture of the reds and the green, the girl on there, it's like a snapshot.
Yeah.
The girl being chased through the cemetery with the shadowy figure behind her.
Yeah.
And the hound jumping over the gravestone there.
That's brilliant.
It's great story, great artwork. I mean, fantastic.
I think all in that that must be one of Jim Steranko's best works. The whole book is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the whole story.
Yeah.
Splash pages, double page spreads, and
it's just amazing.
It's a sort of Hound of the Baskervilles sort of story in
movies.
Yeah, it was loosely based on the Hound of the Baskervilles, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Now I've got this one, which is a DC Special Series, a DC Super Spectacular rather, number 6, which has got a wraparound jacket by Neal Adams, and this was dated December 1970, so it is touching on the Bronze Age. They did reprint it, but as we've noted in the past, they did change the artwork ever so slightly. It's like it's been redrawn rather than using the original, so it's almost the same, but if you just got little differences.
Look above the titles, the Martian Manhunter and the Spectre figures above, slightly above on the.
That's right, yeah. So it's a slightly weird. I don't know why they reprinted it and didn't use the original fantastic original cover.
Probably just been redrawn.
It's really weird. The whole thing, really unusual. But the whole thing, and this certainly wasn't the only one he did in these 100-page spectaculars. I really love them, and it's a good one for sure. Gary.
Yeah.
Okay. Tales to Astonish.
Yeah, my next one is Tales to Astonish 91.
Yeah.
Gil Kane art. I do like Gil Kane. He does some cracking covers.
Yeah.
And in the 70s, he was employed to do a lot of Marvel covers, especially on the reprint titles and the westerns.
Yeah.
Marvel's Greatest Comics, that sort of thing. He did a lot of covers for Marvel. Going on. This is the second appearance of the Abomination.
Right.
First cover appearance.
Lovely. Great one. And George, what's your next one? Oh,
Batman again, and this time we're going all the way back to June 1963.
Batman 156.
Yeah, 156, isn't it? Oh, yeah, 156. Sorry.
Look at that.
Robin Dies at Dawn.
Yeah,
It's one of these Batman on Alien Worlds comics, which were the main thing with Batman in the late 50s, early 60s. It was all Batman on Alien Worlds. Batman takes on aliens, goes into another dimension, etc., etc. But this is just a beautiful Sheldon Moldoff cover. And again with the reds, yellows, and
used of countless times, hasn't it? It's been used as a cover swipe.
That's right, yeah.
Even on Batman.
In fact,
good stuff.
Robin doesn't die, but
no, of course not. Yeah.
Batman's involved in some sort of experiment, I think, where he's linked up to something, and
not this time.
And he's only imagining that he's on an alien world. So it's all right in the end.
We'll let him off. Yeah. Now this one I've popped in. So this is from your collection, George. This is the movie tie-in, movie adaptation of the first Dalek film, the Peter Cushing one, and published by Dell. I have a soft spot. I'd love to actually own this one, so I might get around to tracking this down. But I do love TV and movie comics. This is a real good one. Do you remember where you picked that one up, George?
I guess I would begin again at one of the comic fairs that we went to, a comic con, possibly memorabilia.
Yeah, it's quite uncommon these days.
The NEC.
I can't remember the last time I saw for sale at any of the shows we've been to lately.
Yeah, I think actually I'd paid about £60 for that one, and that was some years ago.
Really?
I imagine it's quite expensive comic.
Probably double that, I would imagine, yeah.
Because you'd have all the Doctor Who collectors after it as well as comic collectors.
Yeah, it was only the one, they didn't do the second
Just
film.
Just the one, yeah. They never did.
Which is a shame.
The Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Maybe that didn't sell, this one didn't sell too good, but really, really like it. You can imagine what they would have done for Dalek Invasion, couldn't you? That would have been great, but yeah, a good little comic, that one. And Gary, well, we might as well.
Well, we're back to Shield.
Back to Shield, yeah, number 12.
But this time not Steranko. This is Barry Smith, Barry Windsor-Smith,
as he became.
He became known, yeah. This was the cover date for this one is May 1969.
Yeah.
And Barry Smith would have been a young 19-year-old when he was doing that.
Okay.
He started doing work for the Marvel Power Comics, the UK reprints, doing the back cover posters or pin-ups.
It's on Fantastic and Terrific.
That's right, yeah. And that's where he got his start. he hadn't developed his own style then, very Kirby influence, but you can see on this cover he's starting to get a bit of influence from Jim Steranko, who'd done several of the preceding issues. But
it's much different to his Conan artwork, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean,
do you think he was trying to draw in, mimic sort of Kirby and Steranko?
He was, yeah. I mean, I would think most artists they start copying other artists who they like, and obviously, Barry said himself that he was very influenced by Jack Kirby and was it Fighting American? That was
Fighting American, yeah.
Is that the one? It's got the newspaper, like the film reel going round it. Is that Fighting?
Might be, yeah.
But there's an old Kirby comic, and it's got like newsreel. It's got the hero with a newsreel going round the outside. In Barry Smith said when he first saw that, blew him away. And
wow.
And so very different from his pre-Raphaelite days. Now his posters in his later Conan issues.
Brilliant.
Conan is great for Barry Smith fans because issue by issue you can see his style developing. And if you look at issue 1 and then issue 24, completely different. The art, and you can see it.
But it's still nice to see.
Yeah, it's really grown by then, hasn't it? Yeah.
Lovely. Okay.
Jules,
is it? No, I did the Daleks.
Oh, Daleks,
George, I think. Which is
Strange Tales, number 89, from 1961.
Wow,
and it introduces Fin Fang Foom,
that old favourite,
the most fearful menace of them all. And back then, Strange Tales, Tales to Astonish, and Tales of Suspense all regularly featured monster covers. And he's probably the best known of them all, Fin Fang Foom. One of the monsters in boxer shorts, as we used to call them. Simply because they had all to be drawn with some sort of clothing covering themselves up. So they didn't expose themselves. And,
we didn't want to see his Fin Fang Foom.
No, I think they weren't allowed to show genitalia or something.
Of any sort,
So they drew them all with like boxer shorts on them.
You wouldn't want it on the cover, would you?
You wouldn't. You just wouldn't want it, no.
But, I mean, they actually did an action figure, I believe, as well. Fin Fang Foom back in the 90s.
Yeah, the Toy Biz action.
Part of the Iron Man series.
Okay.
And if you turn it over there, Jules, you can see that they actually reprinted it.
There we are,
This 1973 in Where Monsters Dwell, which was a reprint title, and took all the stories from Strange Tales, Tales of Suspense.
You can see his shorts there a bit more.
He's got his blue ones on today.
Yeah, his blue boxers.
Slightly differently redrawn, but I think
they brought him back, didn't they, in the Iron Man series? In the
he still makes appearances even
late
now.
80s, early 90s, and into the cartoons.
He even had his own mini-series, I think, a few years back as well. So
Oh wow, that's brilliant. A great one. Well, my next one is a DC, and it's just a classic Neal Adams. It's just a really good, bold, distinctive sort of comic, really, from the era. Batman 177. It's December 65. Two Batman, too many. It's just a good fun. It's typical of the period, isn't it? Mid 60s, and I think it just sort of shouts out to me. I love it. Simple as that.
The DC Batmans, in the mid 60s, as you were saying there, they sort of lost their way, didn't they? They become very campy.
I'm saying they were being they had the TV show. That's it. They did lose their way a little bit, and not intentionally. It was just there was a lot of media related to it. It's a bit like, I don't know, Spider-Man today. There's so much. Spider-Man is a facet of many things, isn't it, nowadays?
I believe the sales on Batman doubled because of the TV. Or at the time of the TV show, so
huge runs. It's
not surprising they went for that sort of style.
No,
in the comics.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. Then, just good stuff. And then what's your next one, Gav? We have Daredevil, number 7.
Number 7, another comic great, Wally Wood. Wally took over Daredevil with issue 5, and he didn't last very long, but he completely revamped the character during that time. This is cover dated March 65. Sorry, I got that wrong. And I'm April 65.
April 65, right?
April 65. This was dated. First red costume. So I say Wally completely revamped Daredevil, brought in the red costume with this issue, and just a classic story.
Yeah,
where he fights the Submariner until he can't stand up.
So it's got the MMMS on there. Wants You fan club.
They want you.
Yeah, that had been launched by then in obviously trying to drum up numbers.
Oh, brilliant. And your next one,
me again, is it?
It is. Look at this Green Lantern. Wow,
Green Lantern 86 from November 71. And quite again, Neal Adams, and quite a powerful cover with the hypodermic syringe there in the background. Again, faces in the background. And you got Green Arrow there holding Speedy. And Green Lantern in the background there looking rather frustrated. More deadly than the atom bomb. Yeah. It's quite a controversial issue, that one. If you turn it over, you can see the issue before that, which was Green Arrow there walking in on Speedy there, shooting up, getting addicted to heroin. And that was quite a controversial book in its time.
I bet.
DC attacks youth's greatest problem, drugs.
Amazing.
Which was, streets away from the sort of the campiness of a few years earlier. This was a lot more hard hitting. And
they brought in Neal Adams in Denny O'Neil, didn't they, to bring the title really up to date, didn't they, and deal with current social problems. Drugs in race was
again,
topic in them.
Quite heavily sought after books now, number 85 and 86. Regularly around the £100 mark for those.
Really brilliant, very, very nice. Right, so this was my choice, and that was Gary's. So I've chosen Amazing Spider-Man 13, first Mysterio. I mean, both of the comics are absolutely fantastic, but Mysterio as a character I just really, really liked. He was a great Spidey villain. I like this one because it's got the extra little flash at the bottom, so it's like a cover and a little bit of story as well, which I really like. But yeah, just a great, really nice, very, very attractive early Spider-Man. And this was this like a second appearance? Or
no, he'd appeared in between. Yeah, this is John Romita's take on it from cover dated November 68. We were saying about
June 64. That one. So
we were saying about Mysterio. He's one of my favourites as well. And I can't understand why. I mean, he's got a green leotard, a purple cape, and a fish bowl. Goldfish bowl on his head, and but somehow he works.
In the 90s animated series, he's particularly good as Mysterio. There's some good episodes with him in that one. So,
and the film, the recent film, I thought he was really well done in the.
And there you go.
The new Spider-Man film. Very, very cleverly done.
Brought to life. Excellent. And George, not a Mysterio?
No,
a DC
mystery
now. Not quite Mysterio.
His House of Mystery number 174, dating from June 1968, and it's sports a Carmine Infantino cover there, and you've got this spectral figure beckoning in the kids into the house. Now this is where they revamped House of Mystery. Prior to it, it had been sort of like science fiction and superhero related stories in there. We'd had Martian Manhunter, and 66, 67 was Robbie Reed, Dial H for Hero. So with this one, it went back to a horror comic, which I think it originally started off.
That's right.
And it sort of continued that to the end of its run. But I always loved this cover with the beckoning in. And the kids were often used, I think, for quite a number of issues afterwards.
Right.
When Neal Adams did quite a number of the covers.
This started, there was a big run after this for many years, wasn't there, with Neal Adams and Bernie Wrightson covers. And they did...
featuring the little kids on there.
The one under the bed.
That's right, hiding under the bed.
Really nice.
They also did several covers on House of Secrets as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Two of them, and Mike Kaluta as well did several on there.
Yeah,
some of the comic greats.
Yeah, it's a good little period of this for mystery and secrets, actually. So my next one, well, another Steranko, and it's a Nick Fury, but once again, I mean, what can you say? They're just so beautiful, aren't they? This is a very Salvador Dali-esque one, perhaps more than even some of the other ones, with the floor melting away there,
melting clocks.
It's just so good, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's like nothing that had ever been seen at the time before, really, in comics.
He used to describe himself as a graphic designer, didn't he? Steranko rather than
an artist, a graphic artist almost. Yeah, they're just the business, and I don't think there'll ever be anything quite like them. In all honesty, So, superb.
Still one of the few Silver Age artists still
with us.
Still with us, yes.
Still seems quite healthy.
Still doing sign-ins.
Yeah, I've seen on a YouTube video just recently at he was at a convention doing signings.
Yeah.
He must be into his 80s now, I would imagine.
I'd love to
still going strong.
Met him. Yeah. It's a shame when we went to that con in New York, Gary, which he used to do a lot of. He used to do that one all the time, and he wasn't at it, which is such a shame. We may have missed our chance to meet him now.
I've still got the program from that. I'll have to have a look. Not sure if it just tells you the dealers or whether it tells you the guests.
I don't remember. Yeah. I've got a little bit, Alexis filmed that.
Yeah.
And I've got a little bit of footage me and Jimmy doing that
show.
I
can remember that one,
I don't know what else I don't think he filmed much more of the actual show.
I can't remember anything other
than Star Trek.
Yeah, from Star Trek.
Scotty's autograph, wasn't it?
I remember we met him, and I did get a signed picture of Jimmy doing, and I remember we were outside waiting for something. I don't know what we were waiting for at the end of the day, and Jimmy Doohan was carried out to a waiting taxi in someone's arms, because he couldn't walk, and I was really, really shocked. And I mean, he was quite slow when he was signing and that, but
I can remember Will saying, "I hope he hurries up with the signing because the batteries will run out on the camera."
He did take a long time to sign. It was like, and then it was really struggling, wasn't it?
But it was not long after, wasn't it? There was a story in the papers. He'd fathered a child, and he said he could hardly hold a pen up when we saw him.
God knows how,
That don't hold anything else up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, quite, So what happened there? Who knows, Over there. Brilliant. Okay, right, next comic then.
Well, if we put them side by side, more Jim Steranko, the Hulk King Size Special #1. From October 1968, cover dated. We said this is Steranko, but it's not all Steranko because Stan Lee thought he drew the face too fierce.
Yeah.
And Stan in the bullpen got Marie Severin to redraw the face, as Steranko calls it, the teddy bear Hulk.
The teddy bear Hulk.
Yeah.
Right.
But if we look at from George's collection.
Yeah.
So this is the Mighty World of Marvel, issue 129.
Yeah. So British only.
British reprints.
From 1975.
Yeah. We can see Steranko's original
It's the original
art.
one,
So the British one is used the original.
Much more savage.
Art. Yeah. You can see the gritted teeth in the beads of...
I see they've changed it there. So the Hulk battles the Inheritor.
Yeah, it wasn't the same story inside.
Right, I see, they changed it from the Inhumans.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'd never noticed that before.
There you go.
Till now you pointed it out. Yeah.
It's only been 50 years, George, but don't worry about it.
I never noticed that.
Oh, wow. And what's that, Gary?
And just a little curio, because George brought his jigsaw in.
Oh, yeah.
This was a...
Look at that. It's a patch.
This is a giant sew-on patch which Marvel UK offered for sale,
and it's numbered.
It's
limited edition.
Limited edition. We looked up the advert before we did this filming, didn't we? And it was limited to 1,000.
Well, there we go. I'll try and find that and pop a little picture
copies.
in.
And the it was for sale for £1.
Do you believe it?
They did a similar one for Spider-Man Comics Weekly with a John Romita patch.
Yeah. Do you remember the issue that they used? I remember the patch, but I can't remember the actual Spider-Man issue.
No, it's the one where Spider-Man's on the wall in the spotlight,
around about 90, 70,
something like that. Yeah, it's one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Wow. Nice to have a few little curiosities. They're brilliant. Thanks for bringing them in. Yeah, lovely stuff. And then George, what's your next one?
Oh, sticking with the Hulk again. Tales to Astonish.
Oh, look at that! Wow.
From March 1966.
Yeah, look at that.
I love the cover on this one. Jack Kirby again, and this is where they find out that Bruce Banner is actually the Hulk. It's Rick Jones on the cover there. It's a lovely cover. The Green Hulk figure, I think, has been used on merchandise or something. I've seen
this one here.
Yeah, I've seen. I don't know if you can spot that, if you recognise that on any of your merchandise or anything, but I'm sure it's been used.
Not
before,
exactly. There are several similar
T-shirts or something, or
the Marvel Mania decal sheet. The Hulk one is a very similar image.
Possibly that one.
The transfer from Mighty World of Marvel #1 is very similar. It's not the same, it's very similar.
But it's the first time that Bruce Banner actually is outed out as the Hulk, because the comic started in 1962 and this is 66, so for 4 years people didn't know that, we know, but the other characters weren't aware that Bruce Banner is the Hulk, as we do now.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yep.
Lovely. Well, I'm back to DC again because I want to keep it mixed up, and real soft spot for the Atom, and this is Atom 35, so it's fairly near the end of the run. February 68, Plight of the Pin-Up Atom, which is by Gil Kane. So it was a bit Land of the Giants, wasn't it? These ones where the Atom's just been hung up there in the crate of bugs. But I mean, I think the run's really good. I do like the Atom a lot.
They used the character in the Green, wasn't it Green Arrow, the TV series?
That's right. Yeah. I mean,
the Atom.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he's the equivalent of Ant-Man, isn't he?
Yeah.
On Marvel, and a lot of them had equivalent superheroes, didn't they? But
actually, Jules, while we're here,
you got your Atom as well.
I picked an Atom as well.
It's worth having them side by side.
So
in fact, they're consecutive issues, 35 and 36.
Yeah, 36, May 68.
I mean, two great covers, really.
That one. You've got the Silver Age Atom, Ray Palmer, smashing the Golden Age Atom straight out of the book, and just love that image of.
It's great, isn't it?
Whereas, Al Pratt, I think he was called. Was the name of the Golden Age Atom, and the Silver Age Atom. It's my book now, so.
Yes, this magazine isn't big enough for two atoms.
I was looking at the left hand.
Gil Kane.
At the left hand Atom, and it seems to be one of the scourges of collecting in the UK was getting those popular bookshop stamps, and they used to obliterate covers, didn't they? But that one doesn't look too bad, does it? I mean, that's the
36.
I think their ink must have been running out there.
That was the other one.
It's still looking quite nice on there, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. And what's your next one then, Gil? Oh, X-Men, yes. Okay, look at this. X-Men 64.
So this, I can remember buying the my original copy of this when I first started collecting comics.
Right.
I came across a little gift shop in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And bought 4 comics, one of which we'll see later. And I thought they were so good. I went back and bought a few more, which this is one. So this is the first time I saw an X-Men comic, and it was see all the characters, and you see all the characters in Sunfire. The villain in that one as well becomes one of the X-Men later on. But you just see all the characters on there, and you just want to know what their powers are. Cover dated January 1970.
Who's the cover artist?
70. That's Sal Buscema.
Oh,
right.
With inks by Tom Palmer. Now I say, if you want to see the job a good inker can do, is if you look at that copy, I mean, that follows about 8 or 10 Neal Adams covers, and the inside art in that one is by Don Heck. Not one of my favourites, but it's Don Heck inked by Tom Palmer, and it looks as good as the Neal Adams art in the preceding. I mean, Tom Palmer does such a fantastic job on there. Not to say Don Heck was a hack, but not I say not one of my favourites. But in there, he's really really good. Probably the best work you'd ever see of his at Marvel.
Oh, brilliant! Excellent. And George, oh well, here we are. What a great book this is!
There we go.
And what a weighty book! Forget the early ones are giants, aren't they?
February 1969, Silver Surfer #4, and
lovely
classic cover. You got Surfer facing off Thor.
Yeah.
John Buscema's the artist on there. Brilliant cover, brilliant artwork throughout.
Yeah.
And I believe that when John Buscema actually drew that, Stan Lee, didn't he stop everybody at the bullpen and called them in to show off the artwork?
Look at this. Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. I read,
so the story goes.
Yeah. It's quite a pricey book now. If you turn over there, Jules, you'll see on the other side that it was reprinted as part of Fantasy Masterpieces Volume 2, where they reprinted the whole Silver Surfer series.
Yeah.
But the covers there have actually been sort of retouched.
Almost like modernised. Yeah, we're brought up to date. Although saying that, on that one, he's actually playing on the track of Mario Kart, isn't he? So.
Well, Rainbow Bridge.
The Rainbow Bridge.
But on the other side, it's just a white...
a white track.
White...
Or just a white bit,
flooring, And they've added much more into the background.
Yeah.
With the stars and such.
I think the original's got more impact.
Yes, it does,
It has, hasn't it? You know?
Yeah.
With the purples.
But it's a great run, the Silver Surfer. Could have picked several other covers on that one, but
it's my favourite comic run of all time. That original Silver Surfer, and I much prefer John Buscema's version of the Surfer than Jack Kirby's, even though it was a Jack Kirby.
The stories are great as well.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, down to me again, and I better try and balance the books a bit by bringing in another DC. So this is another copy of Detective, and we've seen a few today, number 367. And this has got that great Jigsaw cover, hasn't it? By Carmen Infantino and Murphy Anderson, September 67. So it's got the little pieces of which we can of the villain there.
I've actually come across copies of that where somebody's actually cut pieces out.
Yeah.
And actually stuck them in there.
Actually, and then they filled it right in on So it's just missing the bottom mast.
It's just asking for it, isn't it?
It's a gimmick, but it's a gimmick I think that works, and I think they've done a pretty good job there. So
how many copies have been destroyed by that?
Definitely some, but around this time, I suppose Batman and Detective were both flying high, and they would have had big print runs, wouldn't they?
TV show was at its peak then,
So I forget what the print runs are on these, but they're enormous. They're over 500,000, I think. So that was when Batman was really was riding high. Gary. Tower of Shadows 9. Yeah,
this is by another comic great. We've seen some of his works. DC, this Bernie Wrightson.
Right. Oh yes, cover. Look at that. Yeah, a distinctive signature there. Yeah.
Yeah, he did very little work at Marvel. This is cover dated January 1971. So perhaps really dropping over into the Bronze Age.
Yeah, just a dip. A couple of hours have dipped into it, but that's okay.
I would have said he did very little work in Marvel. A few covers. He did the Cole story in Creatures on the Loose 10, which was going to be Terror of Shadows 10, but they changed the title.
Yeah.
But one of his very few works at Marvel. I tried to. I was having a look on Google to see if those two characters on the cover were portraits of anybody we knew, but it appears they're not. They're just characters out of the story. Right. But I did notice, whilst Googling, that the original cover art sold in 1994 at Christie's auction for $1,380. So somebody's got a bargain.
Yeah.
Bargain there. I think you probably multiply that by 100 nowadays.
You probably could, yeah.
It changed. It became Creatures on the Loose, didn't it?
That's right, with the
title
10.
Yeah.
There is cover art of Tower of Shadows 10, which you can again, if you Google, you'll find the cover art to that with Cole the Conqueror on. But Stan didn't like it and had a new cover for what became Creatures on the Loose 10. Although Bernie Wrightson did do the story inside. It's one of his very, very few Marvel works.
Brilliant. Interesting. Okay, George, this looks good.
Metal Men number 37. This dates from May 1969.
What a cover.
And it's Metal Men was always a sort of bit of a fun, quirky, bit of a silly book, really. But they decided to give it a bit of a revamp in 69. And basically, they kill off the old Metal Men. Metal Men's plane, I think, crashes into the city. They're declared public nuisances, put on trial, sentenced to death to go into the Crusher. So each one has to go into the Crusher and believed to have been destroyed. But a secret organisation actually fakes their deaths and gives them new humanoid bodies. So on this cover here, we've got the old Metal Men's sort of tomb there. You've got the rain pouring down on it.
Yeah.
And it's got a lovely grey background, and the new Metal Men in their humanoid bodies are silhouetted behind the sunshine. There.
Brilliant.
And I've always loved this cover. It's, the book, I think, was struggling a bit for sales-wise by then.
Yeah, it's just fairly near the end of the run.
Yeah, it lasted about 4 issues, I think, after that, before it got cancelled. Although it did get, it came back as a reprint title in 1973 for a little while.
Right.
And then came back in 1977, I think it was, but with the Metal Men in their original bodies, and that carried on. And there's been a few mini and maxi series since then. I believe there's possibility that there's going to be a film in the pipeline. So,
wow,
these old Metal Men books could
start getting hot again.
Yeah, pick it up in value. Yeah.
Oh, mad. Okay, so one of my favourite Spider-Mans, it's up there, definitely in my top 5. It's Spider-Man 50. I mean, I think we could all pick this one out, couldn't we?
Classic.
Absolute classic. Is it first Kingpin in this one?
First Kingpin, yeah. John Romita.
Just a great one, isn't it? Yeah. I think everything about it is just, iconic almost really nowadays, isn't it?
And there's the classic panel in there, isn't there, where he's dumped his costume in the
trash can.
He's walking away, which they used in the Tobey Maguire.
They did,
film.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a great.
It's been parodied as well.
Loads of times,
Many times, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely stacks of times.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Gary. Captain America 122.
Yeah.
Sting of the Scorpion.
Sting of the Scorpion, yeah. It was, as I mentioned previously, I started collecting comics in 73 when I came across some in a gift shop in Cornwall, and this was one of the first 4 I ever bought.
Lovely.
Although it's 1973, this is actually dated February 1970. I was familiar with Captain America from an old UK reprint annual, and familiar with the Scorpion from I think it was the 1972 Marvel reprint annual he was in. So I've always read comics up to that time, and I thought I'd try them out. And I got hooked.
That's a lovely copy of that one, and a Sense one. Is that one you've imported?
It is, in
later years. Not your original from back in the day, no?
No, unfortunately, I wish I still had some of my originals, but I've always turned over comics and
to upgrade for better. I think it's what the collector does, isn't it?
When I first left home moved out my parents' house, bought my own place. I sold hundreds of comics to buy my furniture.
Right. There you go.
Sad times.
That's right.
Yeah, we've all got a few regretful stories like that.
Yeah.
And Josh, Daredevil.
Daredevil, back to Daredevil.
Wow. Great cover. That's a nice 53. Vivid cover, isn't it? Look at that.
June 1969. Yeah,
also a lovely copy as well, George.
Gene Colan. Yeah, again.
I think I neglected to say, mine was Gene Colan, one of my favourite artists.
Yeah. Gene the Dean.
You got this surreal Gene Colan cover there where got Daredevil and he's holding the scales, and On one side, we've got Daredevil in his original yellow costume, facing off some gangsters shooting at him. Obviously, it doesn't happen inside. It's not a giant Daredevil or anything.
No,
like that. It's just a surreal cover which goes back and retells the origin. But I always loved Gene Colan's run on Daredevil.
Yeah,
and a lot of people like the Frank Miller stuff and that. But,
that's another great run, though, isn't it?
But for me, Gene Colan was.
He was
favorite.
the king.
Yeah.
Are you Gene the Dean?
Gene the Dean.
Yeah. And Gary, you've got another Daredevil as well. If you put them side by side,
I've got the preceding.
Oh, look at that, the one before,
The preceding issue. As you mentioned earlier, Gene Colan started with issue 20 and went on to issue 100. But he did have a short break, 50, 51 and 52, when a young Barry Smith took over. So this is... again, cover dated May 69.
Yeah.
Similar to the Shield, Barry Smith was a 19-year-old then. And just, you can see there's a style, again, Kirby influence, but you can see there's a...
Steranko there with the hands and that.
Yeah,
and
the foreshortening was always a trait of Barry's work.
Really nice. And, I think that should be our next focus, is maybe do a Daredevil 1 to 100 run, or even up to the end of the Frank Miller era. A lot more comics, but it's one of those ones that we've always said is consistently good. Is Daredevil, isn't it?
Probably my favourite ongoing series, Daredevil.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, really, really nice.
Some people don't like Barry Smith's early work, but I'm a fan of all his work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I'll interject with one here. So once again, I'm going to keep up the DC side of things with a very, very nice, once again, edging on the Bronze Age here, Batman 227, the Demon of Gothos Mansion. This was the time of the Gothic romance, and Gothic in general was riding high, wasn't it? And this is from December 1970, and it's got all the classic Gothic traits, hasn't it? The faraway house with the one light on, the woman being chased. She's supposed to be slightly looking back over her shoulder with the hounds there, but a tough one to find in high grade.
It's a homage cover to an earlier
Golden Age.
Batman cover.
It's an early Batman, isn't it? Yeah,
1940 something issue.
Yeah, really, really nice.
With the long pointy ears, didn't he?
Yeah, it looks fantastic. And
George,
while
you're on the subject of the Gothic Batman era there, that one's from January 1970.
So very similar eras,
and I think the character there is called Signor Muerto, I think it is.
Yeah.
Madam Death, basically.
Madam Death, yeah.
But again, another Gothic cover, and it's miles apart from the old Batman on Alien Worlds,
absolutely,
and the campy 1960s Batman stories that took a much more darker sort of feel
direction
comic,
but it needed it, and it's just another chapter in Batman's rich history, really.
It gave sort of birth to the Dark Knight of today, really.
One of these days, George, we'll dig your run of these out and go back.
I've got a
hell of a run,
complete run of Detective Comics from 1960 onwards. I'm just missing one issue from 1960. So
right, okay.
Perhaps
that'd be
we could feature those.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. It'd be good to see them.
Stan Lee had long been an advocate of the importance of covers, and he always took great interest in the covers on Marvel comics. And I think when he took over his editor, Carmine Infante at DC, that he was wise to that, and he brought Neal Adams on board to do a lot of his Batman detective.
Yeah, well, what a
strange adventures.
Just with the amount that we've seen today, you
Superman,
can sort of see
Superboy. I mean, Neal Adams, he was prolific on the covers.
Absolutely,
at DC, wasn't he?
Brilliant. So, what's your next one, Gav? Oh, two, in fact. Two.
I'm going to take a leaf out of your.
That's all right, mate. Yeah, we'll do doubles.
And do doubles.
Look at that.
Two classic Steranko
corkers, aren't they?
Covers, Again, you've got the Strange Tales issue 167 from April 68.
One of the very best. Yeah.
And that series ended with 168 in Shield.
Shield number one. Then.
Shield number one started.
Yeah.
So I mean that's from September 68. I mean, you got classic Steranko there, the flag, the American stars in stripes, the background, the perspective on the characters.
Yeah.
Number 4, you've got all the psychedelia
going on. The detail here is just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, the Andy Warhol.
Sort of all goes with the music of the time as well, doesn't it? You know,
everything about
Pink Floyd and
that one, even into the box. It is in black and white as well. Really good.
And I mean, James Bond had been released in the cinema, big hit in the cinemas. You had The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Series on TV, which
was
Marvel
big,
which Marvel tapped into. With
Absolutely.
With a spy series.
Yeah. While you've got the Shield Steranko's out, I might as well put another
another one. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I absolutely love this cover again.
Yeah.
It's the classic Nick Fury in spacesuit in outer space with the Earth exploding behind him.
Brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely
Fantastic
amazing.
cover.
Absolutely amazing. Oh, superb. Yeah, superb. Right, well, I suppose I better do the DC again. So this isn't an original. It's a comic, but it's not the original because none of us own one. But it is one of the greatest ones, a Golden Flash 123. It's a Golden Age and Silver Age Flash race with a cover by Carmen Infantino and Murphy Anderson. September 1961. It's a pricey book, this one, isn't it?
Flash to take a bank loan out for one of those now.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking? 4 figures?
Oh, yeah,
possibly for a really nice one.
Yeah.
It's just classic stuff. The original Flash run is just really, really something. I love
Introduction of Earth 2.
That's it. Yeah. It's So almost all originals, but the odd reprint, unfortunately.
Brings back Jay Garrick, the original
Golden Age.
Side.
Good stuff, isn't it?
Again, the Flash TV series tapped into all this, didn't it? The two worlds brought back the original Flash.
Yeah. The TV series are good at mining the history of these characters because they burn up the material so quickly in a TV show. That's the thing. So they mine it.
The Silver Age Barry Allen Flash took over from number 105.
That's right.
From 1 to 104 was the original
Golden Age run.
Golden Age run, yeah.
And then prior to that, it was in Showcase 4.
Showcase Barry Allen,
4, 6, and 7, or something like that, isn't it? Yeah, real 4, 8, and 12. Yeah.
Showcase 4 with the Flash is considered the start of the Silver Age.
That's it, yeah. I'm guessing neither of you two have got a copy of that one.
No. Just reprints again.
Just reprint of it, yeah. Brilliant, but very nice all the same. And Gary, yes, okay, back to Marvel.
Yeah.
Avengers 80.
Yeah, so...
Red Wolf.
Yeah, this is Avengers 80 by John Buscema and Tom Palmer. Cover dated, when was this? September. I made some notes and I got September 64, which is obviously wrong. I reckon this must be
a little bit later.
About 69, 69, September
about
68, 69. Just a great cover. You see the line of the heroes at the bottom, and just like the old TV movies, isn't it? When you get the line of heroes and the villains, or the other way around, knocking the back one off one at a time, and you can see that happening with these characters, and just the looks on their faces. A couple of them are aware something's happening, and Thor in armor and blissfully aware there's any danger. So you just want to read. You see that, and you just want to read the story.
Yeah, brilliant. Just good all-round cover. And then also Thor.
Right, yes. Journey into Mystery number 89.
Wow.
From February 1963. And I just love it's just like a pin-up cover. Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
I think chronologically it's the 7th appearance of Thor.
Right,
when the title was called Journey into Mystery before it changed to the Mighty Thor.
Yeah.
But it's just classic Kirby Thor pose there. And
they used that image on the sticker set, the 16 sticker set.
Yeah. But lovely cover. Just always loved that cover.
Really nice. Yeah, no, fantastic. Well, I'll do another one of mine. Once again, it's a reprint, sadly, but it's Brave and the Bold 28, the first appearance of the JLA. And I just absolutely love this one. It's once again, it is a key issue. This one, covered by Mike Sikowski, Murphy Anderson, Irish Snap, March 1960. Brave and the Bold's a title which has a few highlights, but this is definitely one of them. It's just Starro the Conqueror. Conqueror. I was saying to George, if you remember, when we used to go to Comic Miniatures in London and see Tony James. And he had a massive door poster of that cover. And I always loved it. And we had the model of it.
We had a model, didn't we, in the shop Direct, with the characters, DC, I think, all on. It was like hooks on the Starro.
It was really good. Statue, very delicate, I seem to remember, but it was, I think it was an early DC Direct statue that we had of it. But absolutely fantastic. Birth of the JLA. Excellent. Gary.
Right, from a couple of key books to not a key book at all.
No, that's all right.
Sergeant Fury 74, January 1970 cover with art by John Severin.
Right.
John was part of the Marvel bullpen. He didn't do a great lot for Marvel in the 70s. More of a golden age artist. But I think this cover is fantastic. I'm always a bit of a sucker for the having a page out of the comics or the covers in the background and then the image of Sergeant Fury. You were saying you see this and you want to get your Action Man out, don't you? And, or your toy machine gun and go playing out in the street, don't you? So.
Yeah, no, it's a really good one. And I will just interject there, George, slightly out of position, but I've got one also war-related comic, which is Our Army at War, number 184, which is a Sergeant Rock facing the firing squad there. And this is classic Joe Kubert from September 67. Our Army at War is a tough title to collect in the UK, as are all the DC War comics, to be honest, but they are available online if you actually fancy reading them. This is just one of the best-looking ones.
Joe Kubert covers,
absolutely amazing.
I never actually collected them myself when I was a kid. I was more into the superhero stuff, but I really appreciate them now when I look at them.
I think they're great, and then they are, I prefer just to read sort of the ones that have been voted the very best, if you know what I mean. And I think when you do see Sergeant Rock reprints, like in the 80-page Giants and the 100-page Giants, they have chosen the best of them. They haven't just chosen the rubbish. So I think if you're going to read any or own any as originals, that's a cheaper way of doing it, So, but none of us have a copy of that, but it's just a great-looking cover.
I was the same when I started collecting comics. It was always superheroes.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't get the superheroes, you'd perhaps get some of the horror reprints.
Like mystery. Absolutely.
And if you couldn't get those, it was Sergeant Fury.
That's it.
But I set a self-imposed limit of not paying more than 10p to buy Sergeant Furies or Westerns, and I did manage originally to get over 100 issues of Sergeant Fury
for less than 10p each.
For not paying more than 10p, including number 13 and annual 1.
And you still like it today.
And all the No, I will pay 50p for a comic.
50p,
I never bothered with the war or Western or romance comics. It was always the superhero.
But they were so hard to get in the UK, weren't they? I mean, I don't remember, as a young lad collecting comics, I don't remember seeing any romance comics, although a few did come over.
I think a few million of models came over. That's what I remember.
Incredible. Right, George, what's your next one? Another Brave and the Bold. Oh, there we are.
Yes, this one.
A later one. 79.
Yeah, Brave and the Bold 79. So another great Neal Adams cover there. September 1968. Featuring Deadman and Batman. Of course, Brave and Bold became a sort of a Batman team
only, wasn't
up.
it? Yeah, Batman and someone else.
That's right. From, I think, number 58. Prior to that, I think when it first started, it was Viking Prince and Robin Hood and
strange sports stories.
They evolved into
weird
that,
stuff, wasn't it? Yeah,
and stuff like that. Cave Carson, and stuff like that. Yeah, but from 58 onwards, it became a Batman. It
was a third Batman comic in effect, wasn't it? Well, fourth with World's Finest.
And this is one of the best covers, I think. From,
it's a great one.
That run.
Was that Neal Adams again?
In Neal Adams again, facing off his Deadman there, facing off his killer, the Hook.
Yeah.
Which I think the Dead Man story comes to a conclusion in that particular issue.
Track of the Hook.
Yeah. Great cover.
Very nice. Gary.
Yep.
Thor. Oh, here we are. Another Thor. Yeah. Okay. 177 for Asgard.
Just a classic Jack Kirby cover.
Yeah.
June 1970 cover date. I mean, this is a mini poster, isn't it? I mean, this is a comic you could have slabbed in, just look at.
Just put it on the shelf, as a picture.
This is very near the end of Jack Kirby's run. He didn't do 178, but he did 179, and 179 was his last
one.
His last issue on Thor.
Oh, there you go.
What's the date on that one?
That's June 1970 cover.
Yeah, so because he went to DC, didn't he?
He did.
At the end of 1970, he took over Jimmy Olsen, I think it was.
Yeah, he did Jimmy Olsen first, and then he created a lot of his own.
The fourth
world, New Gods, Mr. Miracle, Forever People. In fact, I just had a Forever People trade come in the post.
Oh, right, okay.
This morning, so I'll have a read of that over the next few nights. Yeah, Mac, he did the Demon.
Command D.
Yeah. He'd had a falling out with Stan, and didn't think he was getting the credit he deserved, so he was withholding all his new ideas for DC, where they promised him greater creative control, which didn't happen. And within a few years, he was back at Marvel, begrudgingly.
Right. Yeah. Oh well. Right, me.
You next.
Yeah. And I am going to do another DC, which is our one and only Wonder Woman choice today. Now, this is that lovely period in Wonder Woman's history where they were aping Diana Rigg from the Avengers in a way. And it was around that sort of time, wasn't it? And there's a little run of books which was like the new Wonder Woman, and this has got a cover. It's Mike Sikowski and Dick Giordano did the covers, and it's just that new funky sort of Wonder Woman, isn't it? Which is, I think, a great period.
It's a great run.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how many there are like this, but that's not the first one. That's like the third one. Yeah, a couple of years, isn't it? And
I do have a complete run of the revamp. Perhaps we can have a look at those.
That would be another good little video, George. To go through those because I'll reread them all first before we do that because good little period in Wonder Woman.
Issue 200 was classic Bruce Jones cover, one of his very few works in in comics. Yeah, a lot of bondage covers around this time, wasn't there?
Wonder Woman has a history of that. I've got a friend of mine who's been rereading all the Golden Age in chronological order, and he says the Wonder Woman ones are just ridiculous. You know, she's always been tied up. Oh dear. Right, what's next? Oh, look at this.
Okay, right.
Wow.
Let's go back to 1968.
Look at that.
October 68. Avengers classic cover, the introduction of the Vision.
The Vision, look at that, all in reds and blacks.
Yeah, lovely red cover. John Buscema again, artwork. Cover and art, and classic cover, and a key book. But I've always loved that one.
Very nice. It's just great, isn't it?
Because there was a Vision character in the Golden Age.
There wasn't there? Yeah,
the timely.
That's right.
The timely era, very similar.
Yeah,
similar looking. So another character. I think it was Roy Thomas. Must have been brought back.
Beautiful, Gary. Look at this. FF12. Wow.
Yeah, Fantastic Four number 12 with. I keep saying about Jack Kirby, classic Jack. I mean, all Jack Kirby's work is classic, isn't it? March 1963 cover date. This is the Hulk series was still going at this time, but this was the first Hulk crossover, and just seeing this cover, the anticipation, the Fantastic Four are coming up the one tunnel in. You know what's going to happen in the next few seconds, and you've got to get the book open and have a read.
Got to finish it as soon as possible. Yeah, and that was the first time they met the Hulk, wasn't it? The first Hulk crossover. Yeah,
this was. I think it was just before Hulk's last issue 6 came out.
Yeah,
and this hit the stand. So the first Hulk.
Trying to boost sales, probably. Yeah,
could be.
Could have been. Yeah. I mean, Marvel were always spot on when it came to cross pollinating their books, introducing new characters into their big set of Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, always introducing the new characters into those to sort of boost eyes on them.
Yeah,
I'd have first come across this one in Mighty World of Marvel, and they had a new cover, unfortunately, where the Thing and the Hulk are actually fighting, and it's nowhere near, to my mind, nowhere near as effective as the anticipation built into it and the suspense built into this one.
The Thing's less rocky, isn't he, in the earlier issues?
Yeah.
Kirby develops him more as he goes along.
Time goes on. Right, George, this is your next one, which is X-Men 58. What
from July 1969. Again, Neal Adams cover.
Yeah.
And to the man called Havoc, Alex Summers, Scott Summers, Cyclops' brother.
Right.
And just a beautiful cover.
Yeah.
Again, use of negative space there. With the X-Men imprisoned behind in a glass bubble of some sort. But always been one of my favourite covers. Love it.
Very, very nice indeed. Next, I've got a bit of DC going on here, so let's move that one over there. So this is Strange Adventures 218. Now, this is actually a reprint. So this was a reprint from Showcase number 17, which is obviously early Adams Strange. Cover by Neal Adams, of course, June 1969. There we are, side by side, Marvel and DC. Just a really nice, colourful cover there. I like the character Adam Strange. He briefly came back in the mid-80s. Alan Moore brought him back, actually, in the pages of something, and that got him a little a mini-series, I seem to remember. But yeah, one of those good sort of fun characters I like. So yeah, good stuff.
I met Alan Moore once for a sign-in, doing the sign-in with Brian Bolland for Batman Killing Joke.
To
see the looks of two different people, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Believe the looks.
He was all a hairy Yeti at the time.
And Brian Bolland was there in suit and tie, three-piece suit and tie.
But I too met them both, but not. I met Bolland at one of the Comic Cons that George and I went to in London, the UCAX, and I got my Killing Joke signed by him, Bolland, and Denny O'Neil. But Alan Moore, I never met at a signing, but I remember when I was in London in Forbidden Planet, and Watchmen the trade paperback had just come out, so I picked it up for Forbidden Planet. This is before they were in every bookshop in the country, and not realising it at the time, but it was Alan Moore in front of me in the queue, picking up his weekly comics. I said, "Oh yeah, see you, Alan." And I looked up, and he was the guy on the back of my Watchmen. But I felt like chasing him, saying, "Oh, can you sign this?" But so there we are. I guess he was just picking up his latest comics, But he doesn't do anything like that anymore at all. No. He doesn't any sort of conventions, and in fact, it's I wouldn't say he's a recluse, but he just doesn't sort of do those sorts of things, does he? I guess he doesn't need to. We all know he was brilliant, or was a great writer. Yeah. George, what have we got then? Oh, another Flash. Okay.
Another Flash, yeah.
Oh, that's a great one, that, isn't it? 186.
186 from March 1969. And again, it's I think the cover's Ross Andrew.
Right.
And you got a couple of kids there peering into a pit. So that's what happened to the Flash. And just seeing his skeletal remains there. And, I remember seeing this on a spinner rack when I was a kid, and wow, you just got to read it,
Yeah, absolutely.
What has happened to the Flash,
Yeah.
Looks like he's.
It's just a great tease, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what you want. Yeah, draws you in. The cover's definitely done its job there. Lovely. Is it me again?
It's you again.
I'm going to go for Fantastic 445. So just another one of those classic, great covers. There's plenty to it. I love the way the FF are there in the foreground. They're really like the perfect Kirby renditions, aren't they? That particular image.
First Inhumans.
Yeah, and the Inhumans, there they are. It's just a great cover. As simple as that. One of my favourites for the FF.
Yeah, sort of different, like the backdrop as well, isn't it? The moon and the stars.
It's just great, but it's that image.
Marvel Pop Art Productions as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The recorder box.
Yeah, short-lived. Short-lived. But
brilliant. Who's next? Is it you, Gary?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
another surfer.
Yeah. Again, John Buscema cover. Cover dated November '69. Really, this is the comic which made me become a collector. As I was saying earlier, I chanced on a gift shop in Cornwall on holiday with my parents back in 1973. I picked up 4 comics to have a read. So I was a big comic reader, all sorts of comics I'd read then. And this Silver Surfer number 10 made such an impact on me that I'd never stopped collecting comics since. So 50 years later,
you're still here.
I'm still collecting them
Probably
because of this
one comic. Youngster. I started in 1966.
So that comic's probably cost me several thousand, tens of thousands of pounds
over the years. But yeah, we got some lovely comics to show for it, mind you. George, is it next?
Right, okay,
George, another X-Men.
Another Jim Steranko cover this time.
Wow.
X-Men number 50, and what can you say about the cover? It's
amazing.
Another blinding. Jim Steranko.
I wonder what would have happened if he'd have done a little bit more superhero stuff. I mean, imagine if he turned his hand to the FF in the 1960s. Can you imagine what he would have come up with?
Yes,
or even the Surfer, hypothetically. But the fact that he did, the odd superhero, there's Captain America, a couple of those, isn't there as well? They're just great that he did do some of the
sheer
things.
Cosmic power coming through on the comic. Polaris is the.
It's like crackling, character. Isn't it?
Yeah.
He did one romance strip for Marvel.
Is that My Love? Or
Our Love.
Or Our Love?
Story.
Number 5,
yeah. Is that the one with no speech bubbles?
No,
that's a different one again.
Yeah, I think so,
Okay. Wow. Well, there you go. Well, I'll do my one next because it could have been a Steranko appreciation video, couldn't it? But I'll do my copy of Showcase here, which is Showcase number 43. And unfortunately, none of us have a copy in our own collections, but this is a movie tie-in again to Dr. No, the first James Bond film. And it was the only time they ever sort of did a James Bond in a comic form like this. And this is dated March 1963, a cover by Bob Brown, who's not an artist we've come across, but this was just the adaptation of the first Bond film. And it's pretty faithful to it. But it was the one and only time. And quite a pricey,
book now. I mean, normally you can pay £100 just for about a mid-grade copy of that.
Yeah.
It's good to see some Bob Brown anyway, because he's not one of my favourites, but he was a stalwart of Marvel and DC, wasn't he? I mean, did Marvel quite long runs on the Avengers and Daredevil. He did.
Oh, brilliant! So that was a really nice one there. And then who's next?
Gary, I think, has got more left.
Well, I'll finish off with 2.
A double then,
and a double.
That. Captain America, yes.
This is a Steranko appreciation.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Captain America 110 and 111 from 1969. I've left off issue 113, which is another classic Steranko.
I almost brought that one along.
That's the graveyard one, isn't it?
The statue in the monument in the graveyard. With Shield. Just 2 brilliant covers.
Absolutely.
So, again, 111 especially. I mean, there's posters galore of that one. Just an iconic.
It's so good, isn't it?
Iconic image. Yeah. Fairly simple, but the design which has gone into it, and the layout.
Superb. Yeah, absolutely.
Hard to get a nice presenting copy in the UK because
would have all got that stamp on.
A lot of them have got the stamp on, which I don't always object to, but on a nice white cover, you could do without it.
We just don't want it, do we? Yeah. Brilliant. Have you got any left, George?
I have, just one.
One more, okay. The final one for the day.
Well, I've saved this one to the end.
Okay, Batman 184.
Yeah, I saved the last to first.
Okay.
Because this was the very first comic that I ever bought.
Wow.
Off a spinner rack way back in about September, October 1966.
Wow.
I was a big fan of the TV show at the time.
Yeah.
And this caught my eye in the newsagent, so pulled it off the spinner rack, and there was no turning back. In fact, I've actually got that original comic.
This is your original one?
Yeah, the one that I bought off the spinner rack all those years ago. I mean, it's absolutely falling apart. It's in poor minus condition, as you can see.
Well read.
It's well read,
yeah.
Completely worthless, but to me, priceless, you know?
Yeah.
It was the first step on the road to collecting. Since then, I've probably had about 100,000 comics through my hands and collecting and dealing over the years. But that was it. That was the very first comic, and it's not a bad story either.
No.
For 13 Desperate Days, where Batman and Robin, they wake up in the Batcave with no recollection of what happened to them for the last 2 weeks, and they have to retrace their steps to find out what happened to them. But that was it. Brilliant. Started it.
Incredible. Well, I think that is it now. So thank you to George and thank you to Gary for coming along with their selections and helping out with pulling out my choices as well. So if you enjoy this at home and maybe you fancy seeing another sort of comic book related video, we mentioned Batman there, we mentioned that Daredevil run, we're certainly up for doing some more of these down the line. Just let us know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it a thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage comic book action, and we shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.